Hello everyone and welcome to our presentation on the psychology of crime. My name is Monica Puli and my partner's name is Solomon Tomital. In these presentations, we will explain what psychology of crime is, discuss key theories and show how this knowledge can impact teaching, learning and students' development. We will also highlight some benefits and challenges for teachers and students.
Now, what is psychology of crime? The psychology of crime is the study of psychological factors that contribute to criminal behavior, including the motivation, thoughts, emotions, and personality traits of individuals involved in an illegal activity. Social theories like Bandura's social learning theory argue that crime can be learned by observing and imitating others. For example, peer relationships and social networks can play a significant role in criminal behavior. Association with immediate peers can reinforce criminal attitudes and behavior, leading to further involvement in criminal activities. Exposure to criminal role models or environments can lead individuals to adopt criminal behaviors, as behaviors are learned through imitation and observation.
Now you may ask, what does this have to do with education? Understanding the psychology of crime helps teachers recognize earlier warning signs of antisocial behavior, aggressions, or bullying. For example, if a student is showing consistent aggressions, instead of labeling them as a bad child, a teacher can consider the possible psychology or social causes. Teachers can also design classroom activities that encourage empathy, cooperation, and conflict resolutions, all of which reduce the risk of future criminal behavior. The indirect impacts are more persuasive and relate to how education and educators understand, manage, and support students' behavior in everyday school settings. Knowledge from the psychology of crime helps teachers recognize early warning signs of potentiality to problematic behaviors. This isn't about labeling children as criminal, but understanding that persistence, aggregation, impulsivity, lack of empathy, or defense can be indications of underlying psychology or environment stressors that, if unaddressed, could escalate into more serious issues later. Teachers became more attuned to risk factors. Example, family instability, trauma, neglect, exposure to violence.
The psychology of crime has impacts on students, teachers, and colleagues. Now let's look furthermore into this. Its impacts on students. There is a safer and more predictable learning environment, which its benefit when teachers apply psychological principles to classroom management, students experience a more organized, fair, and less chaotic environment with clear expectation and consistent consequences. Whereas its outcome, students feel safer, less anxious, and more able to focus on academic tasks as disruptions are minimized. This can help address mental issues, trauma, or learning difficulties, preventing escalation and promoting healthier development. For students, this knowledge helps them to make better choices, develop empathy, and understand the consequences of actions. For teachers, it provides strategies for managing classroom and supporting at-risk learners. And for colleagues or wider school community, it builds a culture of safety and discipline where everyone works together to prevent negative behaviors before they escalate.
Okay, impact on learning. When teachers understand the psychological drivers behind disruptive or challenging behaviors, for example, seeking attention, emotional the regulations, learn helplessness, or cry for help. They can respond more effectively, creating a more stable and supportive learning environment for all students. Students in such environments are less distracted and feel safer. To classroom management and intervention strategies impact on teaching. Principles from behavioral psychological, which underpins much of criminal psychology in terms of understanding behavior modifications, inform effective classroom management. Teachers can utilize strategies like positive reinforcement, clear rules, and approaches that are psychologically informed. They might also learn about restorative justice practice, which focus on repairing harm and reintegrating individuals rather than just punishment. Okay, impact on learning. Students learn in environments that are structured, predictable, and fair. They learn social emotional skills like empathy, self-regulation, and problem solving, which are crucial protective factors against antisocial behavior.
Psychology in crime also has impacts on students, teachers, and colleagues. Now, its impacts on students. A safer and more predictable learning environment. When teachers apply psychological principles to classroom management, students experience a more organized, fair, and less chaotic environment with clear expectations and consistent consequences. Students feel safer, less anxious, and more able to focus on academic tasks as disruptions are minimized. For students, this knowledge helps them to make better choice, develop empathy, and understand the consequences of actions. Now, its impacts on teachers. Enhance understanding of student behavior. Teachers gain a deeper insight to why the student might behave disruptively or show lack of empathy. It helps them move beyond simply labeling behavior as bad to understanding potentially underlying causes such as trauma, family instability, or negative peer influence. This understanding fosters a more empathic and less punitive approach to discipline, allowing teachers to address root causes rather than just symptoms. For teachers, it provides strategies for managing classroom and supporting at-risk learners. And for colleagues or a wider school community, it builds a culture of safety and discipline where everyone works together to prevent negative behaviors before they escalate.
Impacts on students' growth and development. The psychology of crime also affects students. Long-term growth. It helps with moral development, teaching them right from wrong. It builds emotional intelligence, such as impulsive control and anger management. And it strengthens social skills like teamwork, communications, and respecting others. When school apply this knowledge, they don't just teach academic, they also shape responsible and law-abiding citizens.
The benefits and challenges in psychology of crime. As a teacher or an educator, there is deeper understanding and empathy. You gain a more nuanced understanding of why students might behave in certain ways. Aggressive or unusually complaint. This shifts your perspective from seeing a bad kid to a student potentially grappling with trauma, mental health issues, or negative social influences. This fosters greater empathy, patience, and a desire to help rather than to just punish the student. Now, there are some challenges. Need for specialized training. Challenge: the psychology of crime is a complex and not part of the standard teacher training. With adequate professional development, you might misinterpret behaviors or apply strategies incorrectly, and this can lead to ineffective intervention or frustration. There are clear benefits that teachers can identify at learners. Students can learn empathy and self control too. But there are also challenges. Teachers are not psychologists, so they may lack training. and many schools have limited resources for counseling and intervention. Done.
Okay, in conclusion, the psychology of crime is not just about criminals in society. It's also about understanding human behavior in everyday life, including schools. By learning about the causes of crime, teachers and students can work together to build safer, more supportive learning environment. Understanding the psychology of crime helps teachers better understand and manage student behavior, leading to safer and more supportive learning environment. While it offers significant benefits for both teachers, for example, like empathy, effective, and management. And for students, is example like safety support. It also presents challenges, primarily the need for specialized training and careful, sensitive applications. Ultimately, it is a valuable approach that enhances education when implemented thoughtfully. Thank you for listening, and we hope you find our presentations both educational and thought provoking.